Welcome to Furious Recaps.
In today's video, we'll be going through the 2009 fantasy romance movie Mr. Nobody. Turn on subtitles and spoilers ahead. In the distant future 2092, human beings have achieved immortality through electromagnetic cell technology. They no longer have to suffer from illnesses and aging, though at the cost of infertility. Nemo is the last mortal on Earth. He is already 117 years old, but he insists that he is only 34 and was born in 1975. Everyone thinks he's lost his memory, no trace of his identity has been found, and his past remains a mystery. Therefore, everybody calls him Mr. Nobody. Mr. Nobody will spend the rest of his life under the live camera, and all the people will vote to decide whether to let him die a natural death or to artificially prolong his existence. When he looks into the mirror and sees an old man with such a wrinkled face, he cries out in a panic, claiming that that must be a dream and struggling to wake himself up. In order to figure out his past, the doctor uses one of the oldest hypnosis to enter his subconscious, which traces back to the time before his birth. All the children will stay in heaven before they are reborn. They know everything about the past of their different lives, but before sending them back again to the world, angels of oblivion will place their finger on each child's mouth and make a mark on their lips. That ritual will wipe out all the memories they have. However, angels forget about Nemo, therefore he is able to remember his different lives. Before reincarnation, every child has to find a dad and a mom first. Nemo chose the blonde woman who smelled nice with some hormone flavors, so she became his mom in this life. He is the only one who can see the future, and everything that is going to happen is within his control. He once told his mom about the secret of Angels of Oblivion, but his crazy words were not taken seriously. Once back home, Nemo saw his mom cheating with a man in a grove. He was so resentful and sad for the mom's disloyalty to his father. His mom and dad had been quarreling all the time. Not long after, they ended up with a divorce. Later at the crossroads of the train platform, Nemo had to make a choice, either go with his mom or to stay with his dad. He kept wandering between his mom and dad, finding it so hard to make a choice. As the train was pulling away, Nemo made up his mind and chose to go with his mom. For everybody else, there's no way to test which one is better. If he chooses one, he has to give up the other. However, Nemo is able to remember his each past life. If one doesn't do good for him, he can make a different choice for his next life. His love stories all started with the three girls he met when he was a child. They were the girl in red, the girl in blue, and the girl in yellow. He fell in love with Red at first sight at the school's swimming class. Days later, in field activity, when Red invited him to swim with her, much to her anger, he just told her that her friends were all idiots and he didn't want to go swimming with idiots. Red thought he was such a jerk, so she walked away. Nemo had no idea what made him say like that. Years later, by chance, he met Red again, who has already become the mom of 2 kids. Nemo regretted it a lot. Therefore, he ended his life, got reborn, and went back to the time when Red invited him to swim. This time, he bravely admitted the fact that he could not swim and asked Red to keep the secret for him. Red, however, had a crush on Nemo because of his frankness, but in this life, Red turned out to be his stepfather's daughter, his stepsister. Despite that, these two continued their hormone game without telling their parents. They spent all the time together getting pleasure and excitement from their disgusting relationship. Later, their parents found out their affair, saying it was so sick and intolerable to their eyes. In order to separate them, his mom and stepfather broke up and left for different cities, so the two had to say goodbye to each other. Red was still deep in love with Nemo, so she asked him to wait for her at the lighthouse every Sunday until they meet again. However, Red never showed up. Nemo's mom received all the letters by Red sending from New York. In a rage, she tore up all of them and persuaded Nemo to start a new life. When he was 34 years old, his car ran off the road into a river and was drowned. He thought this path did not work for him either, so when he sent back to the crossroads again in the next life, he made a new choice. This time, he chose to stay with his dad to start a whole new life. He became interested in writing science fiction novels. When he saw the girl Blue, he also had affection for her. At that time, Blue was just dumped by her boyfriend and was heartbroken. Therefore, Nemo was a great relief to her. Due to the hormone effect, the two played a hormone game that night. Fantastic, but too fast. Later, however, when he saw Blue again, Blue was back together with her rich boyfriend. Nemo drove away on his motorcycle, taking all his anger out on the throttle. He fell into the grove along the road and became a vegetable. He realized that this was a dead end for him, so he would rather start over with a different life. This time, Nemo was no longer a coward. He chose to tell Blue that he loved her. Though Blue was just dumped by her boyfriend and was suffering from an emotional and hormonal void, she still turned him down. She told Nemo that though her boyfriend did not love her, she was still deep in love with him. However, Nemo didn't give up. Thanks to his persistence, he finally won Blue's heart. They got married later. However, not long after that, a car accident took Blue's life and Nemo was seriously injured too. At the age of 34, Nemo became an astronaut and successfully went to the space station. He met Red there and was about to start a relationship with her. However, a subsequent explosion in the space ended his life soon. Obviously, that life was not what he wanted either, therefore, he once again went back to the time before the accident to start over with Blue. However, Blue never really loved Nemo deep inside her. Their incomplete marriage was fated to fail. Crying all day long, Blue thought her life was passing her by and felt her guilt was going to flood her, so Blue left Nemo. This life proved to be a dead end once again. After so many frustrations, Nemo made a totally different choice when he was 7 in a new life. He met Blue again at the bar, but this time he made a completely opposite choice. He chose and married Yellow, who is an Asian girl, but definitely not the one he was in love with, for he just wanted to marry the first girl who volunteered to dance with him. However, it proved to be a stupid decision as his marriage life was like a nightmare. He was completely lost in a fake identity which he could not recognize. He even made all his decisions randomly by coin toss. There were so many times that he tried to drown himself, he narrowly escaped from the train's crush, but ended up getting killed by 2 assassins by mistake. He did not care about how Yellow felt, though he saw his own death. He did not want to do anything to change it at all. That life obviously didn't work for him either, after so many different life paths he had gone through. When once again standing at the crossroads where his parents broke up, he finally realized the underlying logic of fate. Life is like a game of chess in which every single move is zugzwang. The only viable move is not to take any action, which means not making choices anymore, because every option has an arranged ending. Nemo will die at the age of 34 no matter which choice he makes. Those lives exist at the same time and are equally important. The 7-year-old boy at the crossroads already saw his future, but he did not make a choice this time. Instead, he ran to the other side of the crossroads, spending his whole life alone at the lighthouse. Many years later, Nemo and Red finally met again at the train station. They were still deep in love with each other. Red had been pretending to be alive for the past years, waiting to be together with Nemo again to live a meaningful life. The two had not seen each other for such a long time, but enjoyed a fast hormone reunion though. Red gave Nemo her number and left, promising she would meet him in 2 days at the lighthouse. Unfortunately, a sudden downpour made her note illegible. The two lost contact, unfortunately. At the last moment of his life, Nemo finally met Red again. This life path is the only one that has led to somewhere, so he has lived to 117 years old. It is revealed that all the other short lives have actually not happened yet. They only exist in the imagination of a 7-year-old boy. When the boy decides not to make choices anymore, the mirages of the city buildings outside the window are taken apart, and the parallel worlds collapse suddenly. Everything disappears. In the final scene, Nemo goes back to the crossroads and draws a closed loop. In fact, no matter whether Nemo makes a choice or not, all the lives previewed in his mind exist and are equally important, starting from the Big Bang and being like the preset springs. They will spontaneously develop into different life paths. Thanks for watching. Please like, subscribe, and click the bell icon to get new movie recaps.